Hi, welcome to Chapter 19, Part 2 of IBM301, Principles of Marketing Management. In this chapter, we're going to continue on talking about pricing concept. Setting the right price is a four-step process as shown in the exhibit 20.1. The new product development process starts from establishing the pricing goals, and then estimate demand, cost, and profits, and choose a pricing strategy, and then fine-tune with the pricing tactics. Results lead to the right price for the product. The first step in setting the right price is to establish a pricing goal. In Chapter 19, the Part 1, we learned that the pricing objectives fall into three categories: profit-oriented, sales-oriented, and status quo. These pricing goals are derived from the firm's overall objectives. A good understanding of the marketplace and the consumer can tell a manager if a goal is realistic. All pricing objectives have trade-offs. Reaching the desired market share often means sacrificing short-term profit because without careful management, long-term profit goals may not be met. Meeting the competition is the easiest pricing goal to implement, but demand and cost, like the life cycle stage and other consideration, cannot be ignored when creating pricing objectives. The pricing strategy sets a competitive price in a specific market segment. Consequently, changing a price strategy can require dramatic alterations in the marketing mix, including the product itself. Pricing a new product depends on the market conditions and other elements of the marketing mix. For example, introducing a product resembling several others in the marketplace will have to restrict the pricing freedom. In contrast, introducing a product with no close substitute will have considerable pricing freedom. Most companies do not do a good job on researching pricing strategies. So, choosing a pricing strategy is a basic, long-term pricing framework that establishes the initial price for the product and intended direction for the price movements over the product life cycle. Companies that plan for creating a pricing strategy can select from those three basic approaches. First is a price skimming. A firm charges a high introductory price, often coupled with a heavy promotion. Second is the penetration pricing. A firm charges a relatively low price for the product initially as a way to reach the mass market. The last, status quo pricing, is for charging a price identical to or very close to the competition's price. Price skimming is a pricing policy whereby a firm charges a high introductory price, often coupled with the heavy promotions. The term is derived from the phrase, skimming the cream off the top. Companies often use price skimming for new products when the product is perceived as having unique advantages. Over time, the price will be lowered. Additional situations when pricing skimming is successful are listed on the slide. First, when the demand is inelastic, the price skimming is successful. Second, unique advantages or superior product is present, then price skimming is possible, and legal protection of the product. For example, the pharmaceutical industry introduces the new drug, then there's a legal production of the product. Fourth, technological breakthrough. For example, Tesla introduced their Model S. They charged a higher price than other cars, and they can still remain the same price for the cars because their technology broke through the car market. Lastly, blocked entry to competitors by the protection of the patent or the trademark. Penetration pricing is at the opposite end of the spectrum from the price skimming. By charging a low price for a product, a larger share of the market is captured, resulting in a lower production cost. But it means lower profit per unit, and a higher volume of sales is required to reach the break-even point. Penetration pricing does not tend to discourage competition and is effective in a price-sensitive market. There are advantages of the penetration pricing. First, it can lead to a lower cost per unit as the production expands, thanks to the economies of scale. Second, discourages or block competition from market entry because they are charging the lower price. Third, boosts sales and provide large profit increases. But these advantages include first to require gear up from mass production. They have to have the mass production in order to be successful. Second, selling large volumes at low prices. Again, per unit profit is lower for penetration pricing, but for the mass production and mass selling, it is possible. Third, strategy to gain market share may fail. Status quo pricing means beating the competition's price by charging an identical price or very close to the competition's price. It is a simple method of pricing, but the strategy may ignore demand and or cost. However, if a firm is small, meeting the competition's prices may be the safest route to a long-term survival of the firm. The advantages include the simplicity of the pricing strategy. Second, safest route to long-term survival for small firms. But the problem is that strategy may ignore demand and cost. The issues that limit pricing decisions are unfair trade practices, price fixing, price discrimination, and predatory pricing. In over half the states, Unfair Trade Practice Acts put a floor under wholesale and retail prices, and selling below cost is illegal. Wholesalers and retailers must take a certain minimum percentage markup on their combined merchandise cost and transportation cost. The most common markup figures are 6% at the retail level and 2% at the wholesale level. If a specific wholesaler or retailer can provide conclusive proof that operating costs are lower than the minimum required figure, lower prices may be allowed. The intent of Unfair Trade Practice Act is to protect small firms from retail giants like Walmart and Target, which operates efficiently on razor-thin profit margins. State enforcement of unfair trade practices law has generally been lax because low prices benefit local customers. Price fixing is illegal under the Sherman Act and the Federal Trade Commission Act. Unfair Trade Practice Act defined as the laws that prohibit wholesalers and retailers from selling below cost, and price fixing is an agreement between two or more firms on the price they will charge for a product. This slide outlines the 6 elements necessary for a violation of the Robinson-Patman Act of 1936. First, there must be a price discrimination. Second, transaction must occur in interstate commerce. Third, seller must discriminate by pricing among 2 or more purchasers. Fourth, products sold must be commodities or tangible goods, not the service goods. Fifth, products sold must be like grade and quality. Sixth, there must be significant competitive injury from that trade. The Robinson-Patman Act of 1936 provides 3 defenses for the seller charged with the price discrimination. In each case, that burden is on the defendant to prove the defense. First is the cost. A firm can charge different prices to different customers if the price represents manufacturing or quantity discount savings. Second, market conditions. Price variations are justified if designed to meet fluid products or market conditions. Examples include the deterioration of the perishable goods and obsolescence of the seasonal products, a distress sale under court order, or legitimate going out of business sale. Third, competition. A reduction in price may be necessary to stay even with the competition. Predatory pricing is illegal under the Sherman Act and the Federal Trade Commission. However, providing the use of this practice is difficult and expensive. Predatory pricing, defined as the practice of charging a very low price for a product with the intent of driving competitors out of business or out of the market. The Justice Department must show that the predator explicitly tried to ruin a competitor and that the predatory pricing was below the predator's average variable cost. The base price is the general price level at which the company expects to sell a good or service. The general price level is correlated with the pricing policy, above the market, at the market, or below the market average. The final step is to fine-tune the base price. Fine-tuning techniques include the discount, geographic pricing, and other pricing tactics. A base price can be lowered through the use of discount and the related tactics of allowances, rebates, low or 0% financing, and value-based pricing. Discounts are used to encourage customers to do what they would not ordinarily do, such as pay cash, take delivery out of season, or performing certain functions within a distribution channel. The most common tactics are the quantity discount. Quantity discount with lower prices for buying in multiple units of above a specified dollar amount. Cash discount offered for prompt payment of a bill. Functional discount, aka trade discount, are offered when the channel intermediaries perform a service for the manufacturer. Seasonal discounts are lower prices for buying merchandises out of season. Promotional allowances or trade allowances are payments to dealers for promoting the manufacturer's products. Rebates are cash refund given for purchasing a product within a specific period. 0% financing offers no interest charged to increase sales. However, it does not cost the manufacturers. Lastly, value-based pricing sets the price at a level that seems to the customer to be good price compared to other prices. The basic assumption with the value-based pricing is that the firm is customer-driven, seeking to understand the attributes customers want in the goods and services they buy and the value of that bundle of attributes to customers. Pricing products too low reduces company profits. This happens for two reasons. First, the company is attempting to buy market share through aggressive pricing. Second, managers have a natural tendency to want to make decisions that can be justified objectively. As a result, pricing decisions are made based on the current cost, projected short-term share gains, or current competitive prices rather than on long-term profitability of the firm. Most common method of geographic pricing are described on this slide. First, FOB origin pricing. FOB stands for the free on board. The buyer pays the freight cost from the shipping point. In other words, buyers pay for the shipping. Second, uniform delivery pricing. The seller pays the freight charges and bill the purchaser an identical flat freight charge. Good example is the car dealership in the United States. For example, there's a Honda plant in Alabama. They charge exactly the same shipping cost of $750 in Alabama in California as well. So they are using the uniform delivery pricing. Zone pricing. For example, the US is divided into zones and a flat freight rate is charged to customers in a given zone. We are familiar with this when we try to ship something from UPS or FedEx locations. The map of US continent is divided into 4 different zones. The fourth is the freight absorption pricing. The seller pays for all or part of the freight charges and does not pass them to the buyer. So, in other words, it's the free shipping for buyers. Last is the basing point pricing. The seller charges the freight from basing point, regardless of the city from which the goods are shipped. Other pricing tactics are unique and define neat categorizations. Managers use these tactics to stimulate demands for specific products, to increase the store patronage, and to offer a wider variety of merchandise at a specific price point. These pricing tactics are described on this slide. First, single price tactic is all goods offered at the same price, such as dollar store or the Daiso Japan. Second, flexible pricing. Different customers pay different prices, such as student discount or military discount. Third, trade-ins are exchanging one item for a credit toward another. It is common in the car dealership. Ask the customers for selling their own car and get a new car with the credit. Fourth, professional service pricing. Used by professionals with experience, training, or certification. Price lining is for setting the several line items at a specific pricing point. Leader pricing is for selling product at near or below cost. Bait pricing is for luring customers through false or misleading price advertising. For example, it is pretty common in travel agencies. Odd-even pricing. Odd number prices imply the bargain, and even number prices imply the quality. Price bundling is combining 2 or more products in a single package. Two-part pricing is for charging 2 separate charges to consume a single good. The last is the pay what you want, product prices chosen by customers.